All right, I think we did it. We're starting late here, 2 minutes late, possibly 3 minutes late till it's all said and done. Let's see here. Kevin Keller's in the house. Sometimes people are in the house that aren't in the chat. So then there's a greetings from Harrisburg. I can't read these messages all the time, especially when I'm live streaming, but right now I'm still dicking around with the before stuff. I'm so sorry about, and anytime I'm late for anything, I blame the cats, and it's usually their fault. So here I gotta do that. And one more thing here. And one more thing there. Now, got this. All right, I think we're ready to rock and roll. Here we go. All right, Richter's in the house. Here we go. I am fashionably late. Happy Valentine's Day. Streaming live from my living room to make Tuesday suck less on Wednesday, Valentine edition. The lovely Mrs. Comic is in the house over there. As I said, I'm usually late for mostly everything these days, and I blame the cats. The cats need all this. Well, you know, they need stuff that cats need, mostly food. Right now, we got Mary downstairs. We have the Count Caesar upstairs. And they seem like they like to have special courses, apparently, for Valentine's Day. So I wind up cooking for cats. So one of the reasons that I didn't stream last night was I didn't feel like it. That's a shitty reason, but also Clee's sister, Susan Clee, couldn't make it. And then, like, between her and Richter, that's my board of directors in my unshunned. So if half my board of directors can't make it, I figured, yeah, fuck me in a bucket of goo. I'll just rock this thing Wednesday. And when I said I would do this tonight, because I am a dumbass, I don't just play the part of a dumbass, I'm an actual dumbass. I didn't have the slightest idea it was Valentine's Day, so this is probably the least sexy romantic Valentine's Day date that you could come up with. Mrs. Comic is all on board. Yahoo! She said, let's do this thing. Let's do it. So there we go. And all these things here, the pictures that I do, I don't have any set for this week, but also I want to do a special thank you to my unshuns who donated money. Some money came in. You guys rock. I'm used to begging for money for myself, but occasionally I beg for some friends, and that's our friends, Cameron's. I wore a kilt at the wedding, and they have $7,000 worth of plumbing bills. That GoFundMe is an ongoing thing, but I definitely noticed some loot coming in there from my fine fans, so that's much appreciated. Many people believe that you shouldn't showboat like things of gratitude. I do. I want all the credit. I'm like at the market when you go donate $1 for cats, they get the credit. That's why I don't give the dollar to the market so they get the credit for the cats. I want the credit for helping the cats. But you folks rock. That's fantastic, and it's there's so much stuff that's needy that people need money for, and saying that you have an expensive plumbing bill doesn't really sound like that big of a deal. But if you don't have water in your house and you have kids and you got to take showers and all that stuff, Mary is crying. Twofold reasons. She got served a 3-course dinner. She only liked one of the courses, and that course ran out. Or she used the kitty litter, and then she is now crying for me to go take the piss balls out. It's actually piss balls. Kitty litter forms piss balls, giant piss balls. Caesar upstairs creates the most giantest piss balls on the planet. If that isn't taken care of on a regular basis, those could grow into like an asteroid or a pisteroid, as it were. So Mary has enough food, but she'll be crying. Maybe she'll make an appearance. I don't really know. This is as unprepared as one can be. So for Valentine's Day, Mrs. Comic, um, I don't really post anything on social media anymore because I got tired of people I don't know judging me. Excuse me. I got my balls bust one year for posting Mrs. Comic. She has a name. Well, yeah, I guess so. So we Mrs. Comic and I have such a nice, happy life together that it's hard to showboat it on Valentine's Day. So, like, here's a box of candy or whatever. We can have stuff all the time. And then because I woke up with a sour stomach, that kind of eliminated all the fun foods for the day. I'm a little shaky now. I'm having Alka-Seltzer shots right here as we speak. But we made it for the live stream. And I thought about going tomorrow for the live stream, but Thursdays are kind of blocked out for us for other things in our lives. And also, I have a show Friday night that I forgot about until like 2 days ago. And I remembered it. So it's lucky that I remembered it before the show night. And I have a show Saturday night somewhere. I don't really know where. But happy Valentine's Day. A couple, three, four things to talk about here. Nothing all really that exciting. Mrs. Comic and I, if you don't know, we very much enjoy playing Pokemon Go. And today, another reason that we're late is because I'm silly and immature, and there are themed events. And today, Valentine's Day, they have this crazy thing. It says it ends in 2 hours. If this creature comes around tonight, it's special. It is called the Incarnate Forme Enamoris. Made its debut today. You probably can't see it. It's basically a giant uh, Pokemon in a red Valentine's Day stuff, the floofy thing. It's a right vicious bastard. And Mrs. Comic and I went uptown because there was a raid. That's what you need. Like 4 or 5 people to beat this raid. We tried to take it on. Myself and Mrs. Comic, and actually Mary, our cat, has her own phone, but she sucks at playing Pokemon Go. But she can help run interference. Excuse me, I'll be burping a lot tonight. We got pounded senseless. So the sad news there is that that's what we were going to get each other for Valentine's Day. We were going to get each other this Pokemon Go Valentine's thing, and the event is over in 2 hours. So if one shows up before the live stream is over, we'll be out the fucking door and we're going to go battle this thing. So that's exciting news there for us, and not so much for you, the home viewer. And got this red cup. It has nothing to do with Valentine's Day. And so also, I haven't had technical difficulties for a while. Knock on wood. 10 minutes ago, when I was doing the final checks on this live stream, I had no picture whatsoever. None. And the program I use is screaming for me to connect with our smartphones, with our iPhones, or use the MacBook Pro camera. I have another camera, so I had to download updates for that. But anyway, I think we're doing good. I think we're rocking and rolling here tonight. Clee's sister, if she's in the house, I hope she's. It's really her fault we didn't stream last night but she's doing a cool thing. Hope you don't mind us sharing. Well, that's where's the unshun here. She's going to be doing some bird watching, and I think there's a bird watching group or whatever, and they decided to meet Tuesday night for the first meeting to fuck up my live stream. And I was actually hoping it would get snowed out, but then we just decided, fuck it. We'll just go today. Then I found out it was Valentine's Day today. Fuck me in a bucket of goo. It's really one of the dumbest days. This is the kind of shit where Facebook and shit would judge me, but I normally change my status and I put a sexy picture of Mrs. Comic and I up on my profile, which I haven't done, which I might do yet, but I'm not sure. But again, sour stomach is dancing around here. Hang on. Now let's see what happened to me. Oh, couple silly things. Saturday night I had a fun show, but it I love the fire hall fundraisers. They're absolute the best. But sometimes they don't really know how to run a show, and they think they know how to run a show. It's so it's about 120 people, a pretty nice turnout, and I'm a pain in the ass in my contracts with sound systems. They absolutely have to be people have to be able to hear me. That's common sense. So they always say yes. So what happened there was they had I wouldn't say it was a shitty sound system. What they had was a sound system that wasn't strong enough to battle all the shit it had to battle to win this night. But I just plowed through my show, and if people couldn't hear, that's covered in the contract too. I don't want to be a dick, but that's actually their problem. That's not so much my problem. It was a almost like an industrial garage, like a fire company might keep fire engines in this place, and they had I think they had it set up to do like community sporting events. There was basketball hoops. There was a putting range, I think, with tarps that you could whack balls into. And they had, if you've been into a giant garage or gym, they had big fucking heater cabinets that looked like small refrigerators in the ceiling, and they kicked on and off, and they were fucking loud. And the sound system that I was using did not stand a chance over these uh, heating things. So, but you know, what do they say? A phrase that I used to hate, but I'm coming to love it. It is what it is, which translates to we're kind of sort of fucked, but there's not a hell of a lot we can do about it. So there's that. And now this weekend, I don't even know where the heck I'm at. I really don't know. I hope the Friday night show isn't as surprised about me coming as I was just finding it out. So that could make for some more fun right there. Hang on. It's going to be a burping show, I can tell you that. So I've got my notebook here. Oh, yesterday, snowed yesterday. Was that yesterday? Right, snow came, and my Alexa, my baboomsa, dicks with us on the weather. The snow had already dropped, and however much it was, we got pounded pretty good. And I think it was around 11 o'clock in the morning, and baboomsa was saying you could expect snow at noon. But it fucking already snowed. So that was a little bit of a weird thing there too. And mostly everybody that I complained to about having to shovel the snow told me I should just wait and let it melt. And that's actually pretty much what I did. So I let that snow melt. And then a weird thing happened too is that I didn't realize this. This is another side effect of pandemic. And I feel for parents, kids, and teachers on this. Technology has side effects too. And one of the side effects is the pandemic and Zooming classes and all that fucked the kids and the teachers and the parents out of snow days. They don't have snow days anymore. It's the worst fucking thing. Snow days are arguably the greatest thing about school. I mean, especially this time of year, you have even if it's not snowing, there's a fucking hope of snow. There's a hope, there's a thought, and you don't have that in like September, October, April through the rest of the year. But when it snows, a lot of the schools were just doing home home Zoom, and that sucks. That how the fuck is that? How do you lose a snow day? I get it. I would agree with him, but I think most of the schools had like 3 to 5 snow days built in, and if they didn't use them, then they got out early at the end of the year. They just clicked them off, and also if they used them up and they needed too many, then you started to lose holidays that were mostly when school was closed, but it didn't matter that much because it wasn't you weren't having a big wahoo or nothing. Then when you use those up, it sucks because then the school year would go further and further. So I think if you're gonna take away the kids' snow days with zooming, Burp coming up. I noticed that I warned you about the burp after I burped, but that's the nature of the burp. I think they should let the kids have a couple of proper snow days and use the same formula, and then when it goes and it clicks over too far, then then you zoom. I know you don't fucking zoom at home right away. That's the dumbest shit that there ever was. Um, Also, I have my. You can't see my TV has a photo album that goes through its cats and people we know. But also, shout out Mrs. Comics. Father's birthday is today. Mr. Comics in Law. I don't know what I would call you in context, but happy birthday to you, sir, wherever you are floating around. He might be floating around here somewhere. He, Rick, you won't believe this. I've sent pictures before. Her father, in his younger days, had a real eraser head thing going on in a good way. If you haven't seen the movie, that might sound insulting, but the main character uh, of Eraserhead is Henry, and he has this amazing, crazy hair, subtle, crazy hair. And so um, that's good fun there. Happy birthday to you, sir, floating around here somewhere. Um, what were my other celebrations? I don't know what my other celebrations are. Valentine's Day. Oh, last Valentine's Day, Mrs. Comic and I had a sexy uh, COVID Zoom doctor appointment date. It was fucking horrible. We got pounded. We still had to go take care of cats. That's where traumatized Gus decided he liked me if I wore a black COVID mask. So sometimes when bad shit happens, other good shit can happen from that bad shit. So that was that. And I think my stomach was upset this morning out of solidarity or tribute to last year's COVID bout, which is a dumb fucking way to pay tribute. So there's that. Make sure your Pokemon Go app is open because if that creature shows up, we're gonna have to.
Richter said, "Send him a picture."
I will. I will send you, Richter. I will send you a picture of Mrs. Comic's dad. But not now. I'm working right now. For crying out loud, I can't do it right now. Well, I actually could do it right now, but I a lot of times I don't have anything planned, and it works okay. And sometimes I have things planned, and it works okay or it doesn't. But I know some things that wouldn't work okay would be trying to find this picture right now to send to Richter through his Facebook page. I know that wouldn't possibly work right now. So there's that. Snow days, and this is another thing too. I'm on the young people's side on almost all issues that fly through life, but the comedy angle is fun. The older generations get pissed off that when the snow hits, the kids don't go around with shovels anymore, banging on doors to shovel your sidewalk, and they say, "Well, it was a gold mine. You can make $100. You can have when it snowed. I am at so much fucking money." Yeah, maybe, but also I can tell you that a lot of people are cheap pricks, and shoveling snow is hard work. And if you shovel 3 or 4 car lengths of sidewalk with heavy snow, possibly by yourself, and you can't just put it in the street, which is a whole other fun thing. It's a lot of work, and then the it's a I believe it used to always be like a gentleman's agreement. You wouldn't bang on the door and say, "I'll shovel your snow. Here's the price." You'd say, "Can I shovel your snow?" And then they go, "Wahoo!" And then they tip you some money, and you would remember the good tipping houses because those are the ones you hit next. But burp, I'm warning you, there is a big burp looming. This is like a winter weather burp alert. Watch. But if you got dicked over, that would suck. You use a shovel for 2-3 hours and wind up with $5-10. That's shitty money. And also, I know some people that pay like $10 an hour for physical labor. That's kind of shitty money. There's a planet where minimum wage is $5, $6, $7 for a million years. So $10 cash money under the table sounds like a lot of money, but if you do physical labor for 1 hour, and if it's cutting down trees, shoveling snow, taking out garbage, and you work that hour physical and you get a $10 bill, that fucking sucks. To me, that's shitty pay.
Especially these days.
It's shitty pay, especially these days, for an hour of physical labor. I don't know what the fair wage is, but I don't want to get political here because there's two ends of the spectrum. But I've just seen on the Twitter, which I hate going on there, but there's some fun, crazy shit on there. Someone in California is trying to raise the minimum. I can't even talk. Minimum. It's not even bourbon balls yet. That's probably the problem. They're trying to raise the minimum wage to $50 an hour. That's fun for like a Monty Python episode. In a dreamer's world, hell yeah, that's great. But if you take all the mom and pop shops around this town here, candy shops, pizza shops, they're not gonna pay somebody fucking $50 an hour. It's absolutely ridiculous. So they should try to get there in increments, maybe. $15 an hour seems like a good way to go to me. Maybe $20 is next on the horizon. 50, I don't know. So that's a little bit crazy.
You don't have to show it.
Oh, we do. Well, they won't be able to see it now. Mrs. Comic dug up the Eraserhead picture. Hand it over here. I don't think I'll be able to do it, but
I mean, there's some other pictures of them. That's the one.
this is the one. Let's see. All right, there it is. You can't hardly see that, but there it is. You can see right there. Actually, in this particular picture, it's kind of amazing too because this actually seems like Mrs. Comic's father actually went into Eraserhead's apartment to sit. Look at the wallpaper there in the shadows. I will post this thing in the link up. This will be in the show next week. A better picture. And Richter, you won't have to wait till next week. You'll get this beforehand. I put this someplace safe because I can't be trusted with it. Let's see. That brings us to another reason Mrs. Comic and I didn't really get each other Valentine's gifts is that money is still funky around here. Like we would like to buy a house sometime, and then show business is good, and then it's bad, and then this comes up and that comes up, and so I was pissing and moaning that our iPhones, we have iPhone 8 Pluses, which are so old. Some places there's a great place that makes wooden cases for iPhones, carved it's called. I don't get any commission, and they're a little pricey, but they're amazing cases. They're like one of a kind. They don't even make them for the 8 Plus anymore. That's how old the 8 Pluses are, and batteries become a pain in the ass with iPhones. But you can check battery life, and when I checked our battery life on ours, it said like it was corrupt or compromised. It was something really fucking scary is what it was. Here comes the burp. That's rude, but there's no point in me trying to hold it back because then it just gets worse. So when you try to charge those batteries up, they don't charge fully, and they take a really long time to charge, and they don't hold the charge. What made it worse for me was my tired old iPhone 8 Plus, the connecting thing wouldn't hold the wire. So if I want to charge a phone, I have to set it and then take a wire and plug it and hold it. And then keep an eye on it, because if the slightest movement would stop charging it. Why this is a serious problem is if I'm sitting here charging this phone up and I think it's going to be charged, and the legendary Pokemon Go creature appears in town, and I grab my phone so we can go beat the fuck out of it and win the creature. If you could beat the creature, you get the creature. And I got like fucking 5% fucking battery. It's just a horrible event. As fate would have it, our daughter, who's doctor, Jyoti, she's in the house sometime, and her husband, they had decided to get new iPhones, right? So we, Mrs. Comic and I, actually got new iPhones gifted to us. It's absolutely kind of
Not
really
brand new.
incredible.
Yeah, there.
What?
We didn't get brand new ones.
No, we didn't get brand new ones. We got the old ones.
Yeah.
They got Mrs. Comics is trying to chime in here, and she fucked me up. Now I'm out of focus and shit. So they went and they got themselves iPhone 15 Pro Maxes, I think, and so I got Mrs. Comic and I were going to have to fight over them because she got what we were given was an iPhone 12 Pro and an iPhone 13 Pro Max. So because I'm a dick, I took the bigger one. I get the 13 Pro Max. To me, this is like fucking incredible. Just that I could charge a phone and go out and beat the shit out of Pokemon creatures. And Mrs. Comic, it is about the same size as the iPhone 8 Plus. Mrs. Comics 12 Pro is smaller, which I'm jealous of because it's not that small. But I it pains me. You don't understand how my brain thinks is that I'm like a little kid. I want what my wife has. I want what my daughter has, even if it's not really the thing I want. If they have one, I want that thing. If it so, the universe said your kids are going to gift you some used iPhones, and the problem is you won't be able to have the same one as your wife, and there'll be a trade off this way and that. And so Mrs. Comic is absolutely fantastic. She totally let me pick the one that I wanted, which is kind of almost like a trick if you think about it, because I kept switching back and forth this way and that. But basically, I run my career from my phone, if that's hard to believe. But so that got a little bit of bragging rights. And this thing's a little bit heavier, a little bigger. And if I'm going to show pictures of cats to a live audience, the bigger one wins. And at the end of the day and the night, if we made a bad decision, we could just swap them back. Getting a phone that's not under contract, that's basically unlocked, and you have a phone that is out of contract also, the switching them can be done at home. And it's a little tricky, and I did it during the Super Bowl, and I did Mrs. Comics second because I'm an asshole. I gotta do mine first. But the second one I did, hers went a lot smoother than mine because I had some growing pains. Okay, so what worked for us is that you back your phone up into the cloud, right? Make sure it's all backed up, and then once it's all backed up, then you get the new phone, and it's the craziest thing. So you you bring the phone into your network, and you have your old tired old phone and the new one, and you turn on the new phone. They start talking to each other like a new phone has been detected, and then it asks you, do you want to set up your new phone from scratch, or would you like to uh, replace a phone and download whatever you had from the cloud into? That's what I want to do. So that's actually kind of cool because a little blue uh, universe fairy dust planet thing appears on the one phone. Then you got to move the other phone's camera so it can see that, and when it sees that, all fucking shit comes flying into the phone. It's pretty badass. But then when you have a new setup like that, there's a lot of settings that dick you, fuck you over in a bucket of goo. Oh, I know what happened then is that there's Sims. I was trying to avoid swapping the Sims, but I had to swap them because that's how you get connected to your. We're AT&T. That's how they know I got a new phone. So I don't have to do anything there. But I tried to do it without that. I did not know how to change a SIM, so I Google it, right? And I didn't have a SIM replacement tool, so there's a little hole in the side of these phones, and you take a paper clip, pop it in there, and the SIM pops out, and it's really teeny tiny little shit. Then you move that out, then and you put the other one in. Now I did it. And after I did mine, Mrs. Comic opened the box of hers and said, "Oh, look, there's an easy removal sim tool. So when you do this for me, it will be so much easier." So there's that. This is going on. And well, first of all, Mrs. Comic and I were not big sports people, but we put the Super Bowl on just for fun. And I'm so glad the Super Bowl sucked for 3/4 of it because I was setting up our phones, and I don't know how much fun it was for people watching a really relatively boring Super Bowl until they got to the fourth quarter if they didn't have to be setting up gifted used iPhones. Um, so I don't know how to gauge that. But if you're setting up a gifted iPhone, this came out of nowhere too. This is just like, hey, we're going to get new phones. We'd like to give you our old phones. Hell yeah, Yahoo! So that was exciting stuff. Then I sound like I'm complaining, but I'm just giving you a heads up. If you ever do this, mostly everything that you're used to has to be reset. Fingerprints, fucking gone. Passwords, fucking gone. So you have to go into your phone, which is your new phone, you know what you're doing yet, and find all your passwords for shit. And then somehow when I change passwords, I keep record of stuff, but I might find the wrong one. And then, so that was a pain in the ass, finding passwords this way now. But I think we're basically up and running now. So Yahoo, we've got phones, bibbity bobbity boo. Um, that's the Valentine's gift right there, gifted phones. And Mrs. Comic was emphatic. She wanted me to make sure all of you know that these were gifted used phones, a 12 Pro and a 13 Pro Max, because they're all the way up to 15 now. And the reason being is we're sitting here begging for money week after week, and then I'll go, well, Mrs. Comic and I bought $1,500 worth of phones. No, we did not. So we're excited about these right now. I do have a couple of notes here now. Let's get back to wherever the hell I was going to be talking about. I hope everybody's doing good. I don't know if you peckerheads and mean in a nice way watch the Super Bowl or not. It was just a bad game up until the fourth quarter, and then kind of all hell broke loose. Um, and well, from a comedian standpoint, was when the game was still kind of like sort of shitty and early on into the fourth quarter. I told Mrs. Comic, I said, this Super Bowl really is boring and it sucks, and people have big letdowns. Even if your team doesn't win, you don't want the game to be shitty. You want there to be fun, excitement. You want some fun plays. It would be funny if it was just really shitty, and then they tied it up 13-13 and went into overtime and a shitty game went longer. I warned you about that, Burp, so I don't apologize for it. So there was that fun, and then it actually did go into overtime, which I still don't fully understand. It used to be sudden death overtime, and that would be whoever scored the points first won, and that was it. And they're well, that's not really fair. So now we have some other fun rules now. But anyway, Super Bowl is come and gone. I believe the commercials were especially disappointing this year. The commercials, there was there was one that I liked. Christopher Walken was going all around, and everywhere he talked to everybody was his voice. The whole world was Christopher Walken talking back, and he didn't really say much. I found that oddly entertaining. Above and beyond that, I didn't really see much that was all that really exciting. So let's see here. Oh, going back to these phones now. Um, when cell phones first came out, this is how I'm showing my age. Not everybody had them. It was when cell phone. I started doing big shows on my own that I was producing. I'm thinking 1993. I started comedy 1991. I started running my own shows pretty soon after that. 1993, I started running bigger shows over the days in Conference Center, 5, 6, 700 people. When I was first running those, I could say, does anybody have a cell phone out there? And maybe 500 people in the audience, maybe 30, 40 cell phones. Now you'd be hard pressed to find 30, 40 people in a group of 500 who do not have cell phones. And so um, all the shit that could go wrong with those was you had to buy your minutes. That was a pain in the ass unless you were Rain Man and you knew and kept a talking log. You know, definitely 200 minutes. So you would buy the cheapest package, 200 minutes a month, $29.95. That's what you would get. If you made a call for the 201st minute, you would get a mortgage payment cell phone bill from the fucking phone company, fucking $1,000 roaming charges, this charge, that charge, fucking overcharges. Absolutely unfucking believable. You had to hang the call up. If you didn't hang the call up, you kept sucking up your minutes. They didn't have any of these lock features. They had nothing. You took the phone in your pocket and you just bend over and your ass can make a call and suck up to fucking 200 minutes. Right. It was just a fucking terrible system. So these things have come a long way, and then that's also the internet because our son Alvin, who's my tech wizard and writes books for people that are going to program shit. That's how weighty these books are. Tells them what kind of systems to use to write the programs they want to write to make the program that you and I want. So no, those days they were actually building computers, but the internet was new. And I had a couple of buddies from over to weight room, and I won't mention any names, but he would go on these porn sites and shit at home, his home computer, and then the scam alerts would come up. And I was with Mrs. Comic and our daughter at TJ Maxx. You get the max for the minimum at TJ Maxx. And the text message came in, stop what you're doing. You got to get here in 12 minutes or I will be going to jail. I'm like, what the fuck is he talking about? I'm thinking it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. He's possible he could be hammered already this time of day. And the story unfolds that whatever porn site he clicked on said you are in a violation of whatever the fucking thing is, and the FBI is going to be at your house in 16 minutes unless you click on this other thing that probably would have wiped out all his fucking files. And I didn't go. He was very upset. I'm like, you're really not going to jail in 16 minutes because you clicked on a porn site. Probably you trashed all your files. I can help you out there. But that was the thing. And from that day forward, this person, when you get anything new, technology wise, or even if, sometimes if you're buying tickets, whatever, and there's the agreement, and it's 500,000 million pages of shit. They want you to read it and then click on that you would agree to it. He actually started reading those, and so if I went to do anything for his computer, I'd have to go over there and I'd click on that, and instead of just clicking on that we accept, he'd have to read it. And he's a slow reader, and sometimes I'd have to come back the next day to finish the thing that said you agree. So these things have come a ridiculously long way. And I don't know if this is just with the newer phones or if it has to do with the iOS operating system. There's a weird fucking thing on here that Mrs. Comic got her phone too close to the cat's phone. And it said, this other phone, the cat's phone, has been detected. You are now buddies. Your phones are like buddies. And she's, what the fuck are they talking about? It's actually a thing. And I went and I turned it off in hours. You go into your settings, and then you go into, what the hell did I go into? Let's see. Go into, that's not going to be very helpful now. General, and then you go into, where obvious. This would have been far more helpful if I would have paid attention
like
to what to click on. So yeah, there's, let's see, accessibility. Maybe it's that accessibility. But anyway, there's a setting. I'll have to cover this next week. There's a setting in your settings for phone sharing. Why you would want to share a phone with yourself or another phone in the house is the dumbest thing. Perhaps there's a day when that'll happen. Well, we didn't want them shared for just silly, innocent reasons. Mrs. Comic has recipes in her phone and nice pictures of butterflies and shit, and I have fuck you in a bucket of goo and bourbon balls and all this kind of shit. These phones shouldn't be interchangeable. That's a terrible idea. Let's see. I'll be a son of a bitch. Let's see. Oh, I know what it is. Hang on. Go into this. It's not. It's something weird that you wouldn't think of. All right. It's something weird, and I think it is. We go into general. I would go into. Let's see. It might be. Yes. Okay. I got it. Go into your settings. You could do it on your phones right now if you have iPhones. Except if you're watching me on your phone, and that'll fuck things up. Go into general, and then click on AirDrop. You wouldn't think of that. AirDrop, and there's a thing here. Start sharing by bringing devices together. I unclick that button because we don't really need our phones. If they ever need to be integrated as one phone, I don't know. I don't really know. I don't even see a planet where that would be a necessity. But if your phone gets near another phone and it starts to want to become friends with that phone, and say you guys are phones now, phone buddies now, that's like a Pokemon Go thing. Check that setting and make sure bringing devices together is checked off. So there's your Amish comic tech tip for the week. There's that. I'm going to peek in my notes here because I thought there's a couple of things here. I'll make some notes that would be good. I'm so sorry, but it's my stomach and that's my Alka-Seltzer burp coming up. I make some notes. I make some notes throughout the week. Oh, come on. That's 45 fucking minutes. I didn't even say anything. How could that be 45 minutes? Something's wrong.
We started a little late.
I did start a little late, so there's that. Well, I make notes throughout the week. What say? Oh, that would be a fun thing for the live stream show. Some things good for stage. Some things good for both. Some things it's just between us. So let's see here. Cat TV on YouTube. I'm surprised how many people don't know about that. It's so that's fun at my shows. People don't know about Cat TV on YouTube, but also it comes with the idea that you need a TV that the cats can kind of fucking dive at and go nuts. Mary liked there's mice that run from this hole to that hole. Caesar not a big fan of mice. Caesar likes the squirrels flying around this way and that. So, and the problem with that is when the squirrel runs off the TV screen, Caesar will look around behind the TV and not find it, and then he'll look at me and I won't have my hat on, and then he definitely sees these, and these, I've said that before, these totally look like squirrel tails. It's not a, it's just, I've had no way of knowing that prior to my experience with this cat, Caesar, and how I look, because it's not like I go to a barber shop and say, I would like to have squirrel tail hair, if you could do that for me. But I fully well understand now, and Caesar will do this, we're playing, right? And all of a sudden, I got a toy here, and he'll do this, I'll try to do the look. When I notice that he notices that might be a squirrel tail, he'll do this to me. He'll go. Then I'm in trouble. When I see that face, Mrs. Comic has seen that face, then I have to move gingerly, or there'll be more hell to pay than a little bit. Let's see here. I definitely haven't turned that Caesar story into a children's book sometime in all my free time, which it seems like I should have more free time than I do, but I do, chasing imaginary creatures in Pokemon Go takes more time than a lot of people think it does. Um, I also went nuts. Let's see. Oh, I went nuts. I'm, I'm rebelling against people who uh, are upset by the f bomb in my show. Word fuck. My show isn't really a surprise. What I do, you can Google me, and the f bomb choir comes up, and all that stuff. And since turnabout's fair play, um, if people are going to be offended by my saying fuck too much in my show, I then have the right to be offended by people who are offended by me saying fuck too much in my show because I'm defending my own show, but also we're grown ups. There shouldn't be a word that could be said to you so many times that it made you nuts and it somehow affected you. That's the dumbest fucking thing I ever heard in my life. I mean, that'd be like if you were actually trying to torture someone to get information out of them and you knew their secret word, you just go in there, strap them in the chair, and just say fuck in their face like 187 times. The first 100 aren't going to do anything. After you hit the 100 mark, they're going to start to cringe and tweak. And by the 187th fuck, you will break them. And I don't even know what that means. I really don't even know what that means. And then I've had people leave, and I actually wonder how they are more okay after they left and got away from that who says fuck, especially if it's stuck in their head yet. Um, I don't know. And also, when they leave early like that, they miss out on possibly a fun thing that I can tell them to do with fuck, which I do actually. I give them, useful hints on when and where to say fuck, and also when not to say it. So it's not my fault if they want to leave before they get the good how to use the word fuck properly out in public. So there's that. Let's see here. Oh, now I'm just rolling back over shit that I talked about before. But as Richter would tell you, that's the whole point of my show, my babbling. You sit here and babble and do reruns. Let's see here. Oh, I'm trying to remember what the hell I said. Erase it. Yeah, that's it. It doesn't seem like there was much of a Valentine's Day theme for this show, although I had warned you about that ahead of time. Let's see. Boom. Working on stories, book club stories. Oh, I don't know if I told you this or not. Last week, I'm on reruns here. This to keep you safe. Uh, I like serial killing shows and all kinds of crazy shit. There is a series on, I think, Apple TV, and I believe it's called A Crowded Room. Don't fucking do it. Don't fucking do it. It's based on a real story. Person's got multiple personality disorder. It's like 10 episodes, and when it hits, it's very intriguing. And it has a kind of a dark Richter. It's right down a Twin Peaks alley. There's all these kind of Twin Peaksy, dark, creepy themes. But when episode 5 it hits, it fucking spins down. Really sad and depressing. And you got 5 more episodes to go. It's based on a real person who was arrested for crimes, multiple personality disorder. So you know it's not going to get fixed. There's no happy ending there. It's just a matter of the deepest, darkest, most disturbing personalities came in like episode 5, and then prosecutors and that person themselves are trying to figure out who's real and who's made up. And we just fucking threw the penalty flag and we bailed on it. We just fucking bailed. Don't do it. Don't go in there. That's all I'm telling you right there. Let's see here.
The third season of Ghost starts tomorrow.
Oh, that's right. there's a British series called Ghosts. That's I think it, I don't HBO Max. I'm not exactly sure how to say. And these things sometimes is a show is on a thing, and then they yank it, and then you got to go find it somewhere else. Um, so the British version of Ghosts was really entertaining, although the husband was written to be a dick. But he's a guy, and so that I've covered that on my show. So they did an American version, which we liked the British version so much we really didn't feel like watching the American version, and the little promo for it didn't look that good. I owed Mrs. Comic a. She can pick whatever she wants to watch, but she hardly ever picks. So we're trying to stop the bleeding on this other horrible thing that I made us watch. She said, "Let's give American Ghosts a whack." It's really entertaining. In some ways,
So funny.
I liked it better than
Susan does
the
too.
British one. The characters are fantastic. The caveman looks like the tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs, Kels. There's a caveman in this thing. They also upgraded it for current technology, which is absolutely incredible. That ghosts from a time before there was fucking cars and television now somehow have access to the internet, but they really don't because they can't touch shit. Quiet there, alarm. So I found that really, really entertaining. 2 seasons whipped by like that. A new episode of the new season is coming probably Thursday. Um, we've also been watching the new season of True Detective with Jodie Foster. Mixed reviews on that. I really like it. I don't love it. The first season was fucking happy accident. The first season is perfect. It's tight. It's just really fucking brilliant. This one, it goes supernatural, which I actually liked, and it goes a little dark and creepy, but it also suffers from something that we talk about in our movies and in book club. When you get to the point in a story where you don't really care about any of the characters, it gets shitty. And it's almost there, it's not quite there, but it keeps threatening. There's some people you care about a little bit, and then so I'm gonna watch it. I would say if you have never seen True Detective, hop right in on season 1 or watch this because it ends and then you gotta wait next week to see it. Watch the new season. Burp coming. Excuse me. And then when you're having withdrawals, I can't wait for the next episode. Pop on season 1. Season 2 sucked batshit balls. Season 3 is definitely worth watching. So there's that. I'm also slightly disappointed that for TV watching, didn't really get to watch the Puppy Bowl this year. But we still could watch, but it's not the same as watching it on actual Super Bowl Sunday. So
Were you working on the phones?
well, I was working on the phones. That's right. We're working on the phones. Let's see here. Leafing through stuff. I'm still behind on my writing. I'm still trying to get. It's really I mean, it's still. Things are good, but trying to book work is a struggle. I don't know if I told you about the person out in Iowa trying to book me. Um, I need to get a certain amount of money, especially if I'm going to travel. Travel's the killer right there. So even if they're paying for me to fly to Iowa and be away from Mrs. Comic and my cats for a weekend, I gotta fucking be paid for that. So I asked for an amount of money. I don't mind telling you what. I need to have $2,000 for this trip, with the hope that I could actually make more than that because I'm a freak. I'm a walking tourist attraction. I am a poster for the show. This head Amish comic. Anybody with any kind of thoughts in their head go Amish. That's a thing. Comedian. Whoa, that's weird. So this person couldn't come to the $2,000, but they were so excited because they had a counter offer of $1,000, which by my math, that's half of what I fucking asked for. And that's a shitty offer right there. But the bigger problem was, um, we're gonna sell me. That's what we're gonna sell. And the way I sell myself is that it, we kind of split the money, and it grows for them and me. So we have invested interest to advertise the show. My check goes up, their check goes up, and this person had a problem with presenting the night as an evening with Raymond the Amish comic. I was going to get 30 minutes, and I would be one of 3 headliners on a themed show, of which I was told they had a problem presenting me as an evening with Raymond the Amish comic because that impeded their artistic creativity as far as having a theme for the show. Anybody that knows me that I've complained to is like, how is Amish comic not a theme? How is Amish comic not the actual fucking theme? This is my point exactly. So I did go on their website to try to figure out what the fuck they were talking about. Somehow this person picks like an animal, like an alpaca or raccoon, and they really cartoon it up. It's almost like cat TV, and it's very cartoony and colorful in the promo, and the comedians are almost a non-issue. Like it'd be like raccoon theme night, and there's 3 comedians. And me, like a dumbass, I thought, how the fuck did they find 3 comedians who specialize in raccoon humor? And I clicked on like, oh, there's fucking nothing to do with raccoons or alpacas. It's just that this was the big theme this person thought up that they can't have an eat with Raymond. So I won't be going out to Iowa anytime soon on the alpaca or raccoon themed night. So, and that's the fun and horror of show business. I've been doing this over 30 years, and there's still surprises out there in the world. As people want to think shit up, but if you're selling stand-up comedy show, you should be proud of the comedians, even if you never heard of them. You should say, Nutsy Fagan, headlining. I can't believe we fucking bagged Nutsy Fagan. Even if it's bullshit, you have to showboat it to say, oh, it's Raccoon Night, and on the show is Nutsy Fagan, Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo, and Hibbity Hobbity Hoo. That's fucking stupid. I don't even know. I mean, if you buy a ticket to a themed show and it's like Raccoon Cartoon Night, you really deserve to get me and hear me say fuck too much that pushes you over the deep edge. So that's fun stuff there. I have a free listing on Gig Salad. It's actually kind of terrible, but every so often I get work from that. But that's funny too because I get offers from a lot from New York, Brooklyn, places that were getting. I would do it, but I got to get paid for that amount of travel. But they really want a fucking lot for their money, and that budget is like $300 or whatever. And one place wanted me there for like 9 hours, and I was actually supposed to do a whole bunch of different characters, like every because I list on my listing that I can do characters and work characters into my show, but I didn't say like I'll do a 9-hour show and every hour there's a new character coming up, because that's probably how that kid who's in the serial killing thing, The Crowded Room, that's probably how he started his path of serial killing. He booked a thing on Gig Salad where they wanted 9 different personalities to occur over 9 hours, and for $300, and he just fucking snapped them. So there's that. And that's really all my excitement right now. I squeezed this one in. Make no mistake, I squeezed this one for a whole bunch of reasons. A, we love you, Peckerheads. I mean that in a nice way. Last night wasn't happening. Tomorrow, Thursdays are bad. And I got Friday, Saturday shows. And also, I think I was going to do it last. Well, I know last week I fucked up. I was going to do it Friday, but then weird shit was happening there too. And then I thought, well, people don't really need to make the week suck less on Friday, you're already fucking there. And the reason that I didn't stream Friday because weekends are precious to people who have off weekends, work all week. I didn't feel like I had enough entertainment ready for a Friday night. Clearly, this is a Tuesday night show. It's a Wednesday night show. Fuck it. There's no hope in life. We'll just. There's nothing really to do. Football's over. The groundhog saw his shadow. Didn't see his shadow. He fucked us. There's 10 feet of fucking snow on the ground. It's there's far less pressure on me on a Tuesday or a Wednesday night to fucking throw down a great show. Now, if I had something fun and exciting, I wouldn't think twice about plowing in there on a Friday or Saturday night. But I really didn't have anything kind of ready. Let's see here. Flipping through here. That's really pretty much it. Um, so I don't know what you peckerheads are up to. I mean that in a nice way. Um, there's not really anything to do. That's why this time of year, typically for stand-up comedy, is really good if we can avoid the snow. Because when the football's over and people start to pretend they like college basketball just to have a sport to latch onto, the Final Four, everybody goes fucking nuts in the bracket and all this and that shit. You either like the sport or you don't like the sport. You don't like the sport because you're fucking desperate and there's nothing else. That's where I come in. That's when you come to my show when you're desperate and there's no fucking entertainment. That's why comedy does so well, like now until the nice weather hits. One of the greatest springs I ever had, comedy wise, attendance wise, was a shitty spring. It was a few years back. This was pre-pandemic. In April and even early May, the temperature was fucking low 50s, high 40s, and raining a lot. Everybody was miserable except for me because people were going fucking nuts. The picnic is canceled. We can't do this. We can't do that. Fuck it. Let's go see the Amish comedian. So, shitty weather to a degree works good for comedy. When it's too much, when it's snow, pow, fuck me in a bucket of goo right there. So that's pretty much all my excitement. I'm gonna check in my phone here. Well, that's another thing Mrs. Comic and I are still trying to get used to. I use on my phone. People don't often like this thing, but I call it an assisted living button. It's a little icon. I click on it and it can do a whole bunch of other features. So these phones do not have a home button, and that's all fucking swiping and shit. So Mrs. Comic and I over here, we're losing shit, like a cat losing a squirrel on cat TV that ran behind the TV. We're just fucking losing shit all the time. I don't miss the home button because I have assisted living button instead, which fucks people up when they want to take a picture with my phone. They hit the assisted living button by mistake and everything's fucking gone. Well, the reason I use it is the phone I had before, 8 Plus, I fucking wore out the home button from whatever the fuck I was doing. So I thought this will make the home button last longer, which it did, but then other shit went wrong with the phone, so it came back to fuck me. But so getting used to the swiping and the this is and that, that's another advanced level shit right there. But the point was, I was actually going in here to see if I made a note in my comedy notes. I have all my folders here. I feel so smart when I put shit in my folder until I have to find it. I'm gonna have to find it. So where the fuck is that? Let's see here. All right. Oh shit. I'm gonna say this for next week because if Richter, settle down because Richter loves this shit. If I just fucking start from scratch now, I'll be at it till like 9:30, and Bearcat won't be happy about that. 2 of the 3 cats have been fed. I was gonna tell stories. I was gonna devote almost an entire episode to shitty jobs that I've had before stand-up comedy and during stand-up comedy. There's some great fucking stories in there. I worked at the printing shop. I delivered candy for the fundraising people. That was all the same thing there. And I wound up painting apartments for this peckerhead. And that I'm using the phrase apartment loosely, as people came in to look at them and they run out fucking screaming. So I'll make a note. I'm gonna do hell stories from my I guess I could say it wouldn't be slander because it's true, and I don't think they're open anymore. Um, Lawrence was the guy's name. Enterprises, and enterprises to me is a big fucking word, and a person who goes into business for themselves and prints shirts and delivers candy. That's not really an enterprise. But I don't want to give away too much, so we're gonna work on uh, my hell stories for next week for jobs I've had. Not just that one. I had a couple of fun hell jobs. And Clee's going to pop up in a few of those stories, I'm fairly certain. Well, let's see here. Let's make sure. Oh, yep. See, this is all shit. I'm going to get more prepared for next week. But this is such a festive holiday Valentine show here, and I didn't get to start drinking yet. So if there's not any questions here tonight, I would like to thank everyone for tuning in. Thanks for patience on I'm streaming, I'm not streaming, I don't know if I'm streaming. I almost called this one off tonight because I forgot it was fucking Valentine's Day. And Mrs. Comic was like, well, let's just do it. I mean, what the fuck? You don't feel good, so it's not like you're going to take me out to dinner or anything, right? So there's that. So thanks for tuning in. Don't be a dick to people out in the world unless it's necessary. Sometimes it's necessary. Mandatory dick move. Mandatory whatever the hell it is.
Next week you can tell the cop story.
Oh, next week I have some good cop stories. Nothing bad, but just driving around. That happens a lot. I've been pulled over already by cops who were fans and pulled me over to get an autograph. That's really a dick move. Sorry. It's really refreshing when you actually get pulled over and you're shitting your pants and you think you did something wrong, and if you find it's just fans, and then you want to sign an autograph. That's actually rewarding. But did they actually have to pull me over? Probably not. But I think they possibly, when they pulled me over, they're thinking, you know what, I'd like to do something to perhaps be featured in one of Raymond's live stream show stories. So I will pull him over, get him to shit in his pants, and then when I come home, I have shit in my pants. Mrs. Comic can go, oh, it looks like you got pulled over for an autograph again. All right. So we'll have it there. We're going to leave it there right now. We love you. Happy Valentine's Day. Happy birthday to Mrs. Comic's father. Happy other whatever else we're celebrating. And just so you know, the groundhog did in fact not see his shadow. So we're supposed to get an early spring. And you don't think the groundhog would deceive us, do you? Bye-bye. Signing off. I should have, even that ending, I mean, I should have planned it. Just click on this, stream end.